find out which schools are protesting the election, and later we discuss the passing of Proposition 64, marijuana legalization.
Welcome and thank you for joining us at OC News. I'm Sarah Fenton.
And I'm Melina Joseph. OC News is brought to you by the broadcast journalism students at Cal State Fullerton.
Emotions continue to run high following the historical presidential election of Donald Trump. Student groups are protesting from New York to San Francisco, from Pittsburgh to Seattle. Cal State Fullerton students vocalize their anger. The hashtag #NotOurPresident has spread all over social media. OC News reporter Valeria Murguia has more.
After Donald Trump won the presidential election last night, Cal State Fullerton students rallied up in front of the Humanities Building expressing their concern.
Choose love, not hate! Choose love, not hate!
Your story have a chance to make a difference. Yes. Don't just stand and watch it happen. Yes. We need everyone to stand up with us. Just because this doesn't affect you right now doesn't mean it won't hurt you later.
The protesters continue to rally throughout the campus, picking up other supporters on the way.
That's a great question. I don't know where we go from here. I can say that with our civil rights being trampled on, we're going to probably have to go back to square one and fight for our civil rights all over again. And so that's what we're probably going to see. We're going to see demonstrations like what we're seeing here at Cal State Fullerton, but on a much larger scale. We're trying to let our voices be heard. Like I've said before, the popular vote went to Hillary. It's because of the Electoral College that we're here and we have him elected as our president. I think most of us here, especially in the Humanities and Social Sciences department, were in absolute shock that someone with his ideals and his beliefs could be elected president, with his thoughts against Muslims, with LGBTQ, against them, women's rights to their bodies. Women in general. I feel like we've gone back 50 years plus and we're going to have to fight for our rights again, it seems like. That's what we're going to have to do.
So I'm here today because this is about love versus hate. To me, this is about a bigger issue than red versus blue or Democratic versus Republican. This is about human rights and civil rights and things that have been fought for centuries that we may very well lose. This is about feeling comfortable in your skin and in your society and in your country. And this is about support and giving a voice to those who don't feel comfortable or feel like they don't have one. So,
this has been Valeria Murguia reporting for OC News.
Stand with us! Stand with us!
Students across the country are walking out of class to protest the election of Donald Trump.
Donald Trump asked for unity in last night's victory speech.
It's time for us to come together as one united people.
Cal State Fullerton students weren't the only ones heated. Cal State Long Beach had hundreds of students protesting.
So you could just imagine the fear in my family's hearts when they found out that this country's gonna be led by that bigot.
Anti-Trump protesters also gathered up in LA to express their concern. Berkeley High School was with high emotions as some students were reported crying. Early morning in Oakland, cleanups had begun as buildings were vandalized with graffiti. UC Davis held a rally of their own immediately after Donald Trump's victory was announced. The rallies and protests have just begun. Buildings have already been vandalized, and students all over are coming together to protest against President Donald Trump. This has been Valeria Murguia with OC News.
Donald Trump may have won the election, but Hillary Clinton has about 200,000 more votes than he does. We're of course talking about the popular vote. The president-elect pulling off a stunning victory, from capturing the key battleground states of Florida, North Carolina, and Ohio to blasting through Hillary Clinton's blue wall in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Through the night, that path narrowed and finally closed completely. The battleground states of Florida, Ohio, and North Carolina all went to Trump, as did states like Wisconsin that the Clinton campaign believed were solidly blue. Despite his overwhelming Electoral College win, Trump still faces the challenging of bringing together a nation bitterly divided by the hard-fought campaign. One of the most hotly contested elections of all time happened between the former Secretary of State and the controversial businessman. For the 2016 presidential election, it ended with Donald Trump being elected as the 45th President of the United States. Trump captured crucial yet surprising victories. While most of Trump's blistering campaigns did not convey a sense of unity with his notable slogan, "Make America Great Again," he decided to appeal a sense of togetherness during his victory speech, stating, quote, "Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division," end quote. He said, "It's time for us to come together as a one united people. It's time."
Now it's time for America to bind the wounds of division. Have to get together. To all Republicans and Democrats and independents across this nation, I say it is time for us to come together as one united people.
He offered warm words for Ms. Clinton, stating a major debt of gratitude for her service to our country. Clinton also had a nice share of words for the elected president, noting that we should have an open mind and give him a chance.
We must accept this result and then look to the future. Donald Trump is going to be our president. We owe him an open mind and the chance to lead.
President Obama echoed that same regard at the Rose Garden.
All rooting for his success in uniting and leading the country. The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy. And over the next few months, we are going to show that.
Donald Trump used kind words to reassure America that he is going to do a good job during his term.
It's been what they call a historic event, but to be really historic, we have to do a great job. And I promise you that I will not let you down. We will do a great job.
He also made it clear that this may not be his last term.
I look very much forward to being your president. And hopefully at the end of 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, or maybe even 8 years, you will say, so many of you worked so hard for us, but you...
Trump is set to take the oath of office on January 20th.
Orange County voted blue for the first time since the Great Depression. This unusual election had many Cal State Fullerton students gathered at the TSU pub last night to watch the results come in. Vivian Chow has more on the story.
In anticipation of Tuesday night's presidential election, students gathered for a viewing party at the TSU pub. The air was tense as everyone waited for the final results. One thing is certain, though, this election has been emotional and divisive.
I feel like this election brought out the worst in people, and it really divided my family. We're all voting for different people, so it's crazy.
People are deciding between which one's less worse between the two, which I feel like people shouldn't be, that's not the way to vote. When you're looking for a president, you're looking for someone who can really fully represent the country, and so I just feel like it's really sad that it's like this.
There's a lot more on the line just with the drastic differences in the candidates and the fact that there is both equally so much extreme support and hatred for the candidate on both sides. So I just feel like there's not a whole lot of in between in this election. You either love them or you hate them.
As the results poured in, some students remained hopeful.
It'd be historical, especially our first black president and then our first woman president 2 in a row. It's really changing the way that things are going in America.
Others were unsure about the future.
I think the world is literally watching tonight. I have friends from multiple countries, and every one of them is holding their breath to try to see the outcome, because I think a lot of countries are afraid of a Trump presidency.
Most students, though, are keeping an open mind.
Hopefully he'd surprise us, and he'd be more mature and more level-headed if he became president.
Reporting from Fullerton, I'm Vivian Chow.
Electing a president wasn't the only thing on the ballot. See how all 17 of California's propositions fared on Election Day. The people of California have spoken on the legalization of marijuana. Find out what they said and who they chose for our state Senate. Also seems like we won't be needing a jacket anytime soon. We will have the weather report after a short break.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. That's why we're here. We're free and here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos. Go to getschool.com.
The earthquakes you see in movies are one thing, but real life is a completely different animal. Just because you can't predict an earthquake doesn't mean that you can't prepare for one. In the event of a real earthquake, you should drop, cover, and hold on. Visit ready.gov/earthquake and practice what to do to keep you and your family safe in the event of a real earthquake. And you'll be seen as a hero by your family and your loved ones.
Visit ready.gov/earthquake today.
Things are heating up, and believe it or not, it's not because of the election. Sarah Fenton has our weather forecast for the rest of the week.
You're right, Melina. It is really warm outside in Southern California. If you step outside, we're at 94 degrees right now, and our lows dropping down to 62 degrees tonight. Humidity at 12%, and we had our sunrise at 6:18 a.m. this morning. And if you look at that, that's an early sunset at 4:51 p.m. this afternoon. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our 5-day forecast to see if we will stay warm. And it looks like we are staying warm for the rest of the week. Tomorrow, Thursday, we're in 92, still in the 90s, but Friday we are dropping below 90s to 86 degrees. Saturday, 85, Sunday, 88, and Monday, 86 degrees. But if you look, you'll see the lows are staying in the high 50s, so at least we'll be dropping down to cooler temperatures at night. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our national forecast to see where we are with the other states in the United States. And as you can see, Los Angeles is the warmest city in the United States. I don't know if it's because the election last night, but it is the warmest one. Any of the other states are pretty cool, but as you can see in California, we are still pretty heated. And that's it for weather. Back to you guys.
One particular prop has been causing commotion in California. Carolina tells us more about Prop 64.
Thanks, Melina. Prop 64 passed in the state of California yesterday, allowing the recreational use of marijuana for adults 21 and older. By a vote of 56%, it is now legal to possess and use marijuana, but purchases will not be legal until dispensaries are properly licensed, which we can expect to happen around January 2018. So how does exactly Prop 64 work? Adults 21 and over can now possess 28.5 grams of marijuana and grow up to 6 plants in their homes. This may raise some concerns, but just like alcohol, there will be certain regulations. Citizens can only smoke marijuana in their homes or in licensed businesses. Now, people are asking themselves, how will this affect the economy? The state created 2 new forms of taxation for the drug. One will be $9.25 per ounce for flowers and $2.75 per ounce for leaves. The other, 15% taxation on retail prices. These taxes will go towards youth programs and programs designed to reduce driving under the influence of marijuana. And while the opposing side might be troubled by Prop 64, let's take a look at Colorado and how legalization has helped their economy. They have ushered in thousands of new jobs, and legalization even brought in $135 million into state funds just last year. So really, this may be the key for a thriving California and the 2 other states that approved recreational marijuana initiatives, Massachusetts and Nevada. With the ever-changing landscape in America, weed is now legal in California. Back to you guys in the studio.
Prop 51 was passed and will borrow $9 billion in school bonds. Prop 52 was passed and will restrict diverting funds away from Medi-Cal. Prop 53 did not pass, which would have forced statewide votes on bonds bigger than $2 billion. Prop 54 passed, which requires legislation to be published online before final vote. Prop 55 passed and will continue to extend income tax rates for the wealthy.
Prop 56 passed, which will raise tobacco tax by $2 a pack. Prop 57 passed and handed a decisive victory to Governor Jerry Brown. The prop makes new parole rules for nonviolent felons. Prop 58 passed and will repeal the bilingual education ban. Prop 59 passed by a slim margin and instructs California officials to work for Citizens United repeal. Prop 60, which requires condoms from porn from actors, did not pass.
Prop 61 did not pass, which would have put price limits on prescription drugs for state agencies. Prop 62 would have repealed the death penalty, but did not end up passing. Prop 63 passed, which will institute a number of new gun control laws. Prop 65, which would have redirected plastic bag fees to environmental programs, did not pass.
Prop 66, which was really close and goes along with Prop 62, ended up passing by just about 1%. This proposition will speed up the death penalty process. Prop 67 passed, which means most stores will be prohibited from providing single-use plastic bags.
Kamala Harris has made history tonight when she was elected the first Indian and second black woman to have ever been elected in the U.S. Senate. She will also be the first black senator from California and California's first new U.S. senator in 24 years. What also made this election so groundbreaking was that there were no Republicans on the ballot. Harris won against Loretta Sanchez with more than 1.3 million votes. Harris promises to promote solutions to fighting crime and for immigration reform. She said during her victory speech, quote, "I intend to fight. I intend to fight for Black Lives Matter. I intend to fight for the truth and transparency and trust. I intend to fight. I intend to fight for a woman's access to health care and reproductive rights." Winning this election might open a path for Harris. The milestone was significant, but for a candidate with so much passion and the uncertainty of the times we are currently in, who knows if she will move to become the first female interracial president.
Edward Royce has been elected as representative to the 39th Congressional District in California. Royce had more than 20% lead, allowing the incumbent to stay even when opponent, Brett Murdoch, campaigned with the message that 22 years was enough for Royce. I guess 22 years wasn't enough for voters, as he will once again represent the people in Los Angeles, Orange, and San Bernardino counties. As a proud alum of Cal State Fullerton, one of his many goals is to plan to continue his involvement with the university.
The Democratic Party held an election night last night before the presidency was announced. The crowd was in silence each time Hillary lost a state vote. Valeria Murguia has more on the story.
I'm here in Santa Ana at the Yost Theater, where I'm about to go inside and check out the Democratic Party.
The Democratic election night was buzzing with excited and frightened Hillary supporters.
Yeah, so with all the tension and stuff going on with this whole election, it's been really difficult because, like, on Facebook, I've had people coming back and forth with me, and my tension just gets higher and higher, and I think to myself, how can they even vote for this person? And then, like, I had this sticker on my car that was for Hillary, and some people said, don't put it on your car because of all the Trump people. And I said, no way. This is America. You got to go for it. You have to express what you're about. You have to express what you believe. Otherwise, we're not in America. We're somewhere else.
The crowd mingled with one another as they awaited the news on who would win the presidency.
We're here really to get a perspective on what the national kind of pulse is for the election, but also really to get moral support so that whatever the outcome is, we'll feel like either we can commiserate with a lot of people that feel the same way, or possibly celebrate as well and really feel uplifted in that this country has hopefully gone in the right direction in proving that love does trump hate, and really just to be part of the citizenry that really should be voting, should participate in democracy, and to show support for that.
This has been Valeria Murguia reporting for OC News.
Coming up, Colin Kaepernick makes another controversial gesture that has him getting more scrutiny than praise.
Santa Ana's mayor gets re-elected for his 12th consecutive term, and find out who got elected for Fullerton City Council. All this and more coming up.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
French fries. Finding best potatoes.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Although we had a presidential election last night, there was still a lot going on in the world of sports. Our Alan Huerta has more.
Thanks, Melina. The last 3 seasons, the Los Angeles Lakers haven't been the team we've been accustomed to seeing throughout their history, competing for NBA championships. But this season, the Lakers have started to show signs of something Laker fans have been dying to get the past few years: hope. Yes, the roster is still filled with a very young core, but there's a different energy around this team. They have a new head coach in Luke Walton that understands his team and just so happens to be the youngest coach in the NBA. The team is having fun again, playing for one another, and they've embraced Meta World Peace's "I Love Basketball" slogan that has completely taken over the Lakers. With that said, the Lakers took on the Dallas Mavericks Tuesday night at Staples Center, looking for their first 4-game winning streak since 2012. Luke Walton and the Lakers were looking to stay undefeated at home against the Dallas Mavericks. We move towards the end of the second quarter, where Julius Randle gets blocked by Andrew Bogut as Dallas pushes it the other end, resulting in a fast break finish for Wesley Matthews to go up 3. The next play down, the newest Maverick, Harrison Barnes, dishes it out to Seth Curry, who knocks down the tray ball to give the Mavericks a 58-54 lead at the half. With the Lakers down 6 in the third, D'Angelo Russell, who scored 12 points in the quarter, drains the 3 off the Julius Randle assist to cut the deficit back to 3. Down by 2 with 8 minutes to play, Jordan Clarkson hits the running floater to tie the game at 89 as the Lakers finally broke even with the Mavericks. But in the end, it was too much Dallas as Seth Curry would deliver the dagger to put the game out of reach with the late 3-pointer. The Lakers would fall to the Mavericks to a final score of 109-97 to drop to 4-4 on the season. In other news, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who has been exercising his First Amendment during the national anthem before every game this season, chose not to exercise his voting right by not voting in yesterday's presidential election. This sparked controversy as he was the first NFL player to take action as a sign of protest against the turmoil between the black community and law enforcement. His protest wasn't received well initially, but Kaepernick started to get support from numerous players around the National Football League as time progressed. The biggest question from his action were what results would come from it. But on the day that Kaepernick and all of America had the opportunity to make a stance on their views, the San Francisco quarterback decided to take a knee on his own stance by electing not to vote. Many of his supporters are questioning his approach and wonder if he'll continue his protest as the season progresses. But despite all of this, Kaepernick is sticking with his decision to not vote and will continue his pregame protest. However, after this lack of action, only time will tell how much support he'll keep as we're now past the midway part of the NFL season. And whew, I know that's been a lot with sports and the election the past few days. That's all we have for the sports segment tonight. Back to you ladies at the desk.
After 22 years of being the major for Santa Ana, Miguel Pulido is on his way to his 12th two-year term. Pulido has spoken out in favor of boosting the number of police officers, prioritizing economic development, and enforcing stricter policies around the homeless. Even though candidates can't accept more than $1,000 per donor in each election cycle, Pulido has a well-funded campaign without conflicting with the city's strict campaign finance laws. An independent expenditure committee has accepted more than $75,000 this year, and most money has gone towards mailers supporting Pulido.
There was a close race between Fullerton City Council members. Raylene Taylor has more on the story. Thanks, Melina. The city of Fullerton says hello to their new council members. 12 candidates ran, but only 3 could be selected. They are Fullerton Mayor Jennifer Fitzgerald with 17.4% of the votes, former city council member Bruce Whitaker with 14.6%, and their newest member, Jesus Silva, with 13.7% of the votes. Those are the results from the Fullerton City Council election. Back to you guys in the studio.
That's going to do it for this edition of OC News. To stay up to date with us, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and all our other social media accounts. From Cal State Fullerton, I'm Sarah Fenton.
And I'm Melina Joseph. See you all next time.